what do you get when you cross a know-it-all newspaper columnist with an awkward, unsophisticated everyman?
Yeah. Well, I'm just not sure about that right now.
Welcome to Couch and the Rube.
Welcome to Couch and the Rube, our Wednesday afternoon show presented by our friends at Front 43 Neighborhood Pub and Cask & Company Kitchen and Bar. That's just north of Frandor, near the Lansing, East Lansing border, right there on East Saginaw. Unbelievable place. Two adjoining places, two distinct vibes, one incredible menu and great drink selection. Great place for a college football weekend to catch a Tigers game, whatever it might be. But it was a college football bye week 7 years ago that first drew me to Front 43 and Cask & Company. They came on board as the original sponsors, believed in us before anybody did, and I've never steered anybody wrong in steering them to Front 43 and Cask & Company. CaskandCompany.com for the menu and for a great, great reservation system. You can write in where you want to sit, which side you want to be on, all that sort of stuff. It's smart to do on the weekends as well. Jason, how you doing, brother?
Yeah, we don't have enough time for all of that.
Graham.
Is that how the J Batt press conference went?
It wasn't a press conference.
Roundtable?
It was like in a conference room right near his office with like about 12 of us or so. Yeah. It was good. It was good.
I was reading from the desk of J Batt this morning too. So yeah, it's a J Batt day.
J Batt is getting out there before the start of football season.
Pound some bushes.
Yeah. It was a good conversation. This is going to be a good show. We're going to talk a little bit about that conversation here first. We are going to have Robin Hook, the longtime voice of the Broncos, on to talk about the Western Michigan State game and get the perspective of Western Michigan here. And
do you want to have my wife on to break down the Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce engagement?
We could do that.
Jesus. I need help from that.
It's a big deal. You glad to be out of the house? Is that
oh, my God. It's been wall-to-wall coverage of this Taylor and Travis since yesterday, since the announcement.
She was the one who let me know what happened. She texted me.
Dude, she is so beyond excited about this. Like you know how you can tell with your wife, like when they're excited about something. Yeah. Kind of like what I was this morning with the Ryder Cup picks and Keegan making his captain's picks. I'm sure she was enthralled by that conversation we had as well. But yeah, the passion in her voice with the Taylor and Travis thing is so. I had just
gotten a text from Tom Dieters, who's
how's Tom doing?
Yeah, he's a guy who ran the This Is Sparta NIL collective, right? And been an important person for a lot of sports and at MSU. And he had written an op-ed in the Detroit News, and he sent me his Instagram link to the tease for the op-ed, and right then Therese sends me this Instagram thing from from Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, and I texted Dieters back, and I just said, this is like the second most important thing on Instagram today, man. I don't know what to tell you.
I know, and I was like, you texted Graham? She's like, well, yeah, he's been against their relationship the whole time. And
I'm not against their relationship.
He's like, he likes Hallmark movies. I figured he would like this.
I love this. I hope this becomes a Hallmark movie.
I want to say, does she listen to the same podcast?
I don't think she listens. I don't think she listens.
I think Couch is all about it. Like, and I am too. It's just, like, I'm happy for people that are in love, because when I'm in love, I like other people to be in love, but it's like, it's exhausting. Like, all the Easter eggs, like the Taylor Swift things you have to look in the photo. It's like,
we have our own love stories, you and I, and now Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift have theirs.
Oh my God, it's going to be never ending.
So, anyway. We also have Harry on later in the show. We're going to do week 1 picks.
Thank God, I was worried about him.
Yeah, we're
radio silent from him for a period there. I'm like, all right.
Week 1 college football picks. It is finally here, and that will be fun. Before we get to Robin Hook, so today J Batt had a group of us, out in the conference room outside his office for a conversation, some off the record, some on the record. Here are my sort of takeaways from it. A couple things. One, what I like about J Batt is he is somebody who's curious. He doesn't act like he has all the answers out of place. He's been 2 months, right? So for like 20 minutes, he was just asking us questions in sort of an off-record format to get feedback on things we hear about. So
that's smart guy stuff right there.
For example, you think about the idea that how many times Central Michigan is brought up to me, don't think we didn't bring that up.
Was that off the record?
Well, then we went on the record with it. So I'll get to all that.
How do you know?
Like,
does he say?
Yeah, you make
off
that
the
clear.
record?
It's very important.
Who does? You do?
Matt Larson was there.
Okay.
And
so he's off the record, on the record guy.
Yeah, as an associate AD.
So you look over at Larson, and go, all right, on the record.
No. The whole beginning part was off. And then we went on.
Gotcha.
And you want to be clear about that.
Do you ever forget? Like, I'd forget.
Well, Izzo is the guy who does this very dangerously sometimes. Izzo expects you to know based on the tone of his voice sometimes, or the craziness that he said. And you kind of do, because you kind of know, okay, he lowers his voice or he does this. You're like, he meant to go off the record. I'm surprised he hasn't gotten burned by it by somebody who doesn't know him as well to this point, because it's not always clear. Like, if Izzo ever got burned by going off the record, chances are he wouldn't be all that upset if you listen back to the recording, because chances are it would be very unclear that he went off the record, right? And but in this case it was. So a few things to get to. One, the CMU thing came up quickly, and he was pretty vague about it and just said, Michigan State will be the North Star doing what's best for MSU.
Ooh, I like that.
And, there are contracts that are in place. So I would be surprised if games when he would not, when I asked him specifically about whether anybody from CMU's administration had been in contact, he said he didn't want to get into that. But
off the record?
He didn't say on the record. I wouldn't be talking about it here if it was off the record. That distinction is important in this business. You don't get.
See, I'd be bad at that.
Yeah. You
have to be known. It has to be known for me. Yeah.
It is known. Like it was very clear when we went on and off. So that we'll see where that goes. I think that was my takeaway on this. Is there's a lot of. I mean, he's an impressive guy, but Mark Hollis was impressive. If you interviewed Alan Haller, he came across impressive. Like, he's an impressive guy, and I think he's going about things in the right way in terms of getting to know the place, being curious. He clearly has some initiatives he's tried to do early in, stadium improvement and stadium experience improvements, things like that. Yeah, he's tailgate, the Mun tailgate. There are things that he is putting a stamp on quickly that you're able to do because that works. But there's a lot of things he's curious about. He's curious about, I think he's curious about the game at Ford Field at the end of the year. These sort of things. I think he'll be taking feedback from people all this year on that sort of stuff and getting to know the fan base. One of the other things I asked him about, and I think this is an important component going forward, is, we all know in revenue what the revenue sharing numbers are, right? It's $20.5 million total. It's about 15, 16 million everywhere for football. But how do you separate yourself there? And, is Ohio State and Alabama and Michigan going to play in the same sandbox as Purdue and Illinois? Like, how do you make that? How do you separate yourself financially? And one thing that is interesting is he's very much, he said the Michigan State's going to play above board this, that they're legitimate NIL deals, and they're working towards ways to, they're moving away from the collective model outside of revenue sharing, and they're working towards ways to find opportunities and ways to finance NIL deals for athletes, legitimate NIL deals. And so I sort of followed up on that, like how much in the gray area you want to live if others do, and he said they're going to play above board. So this is a big wait and see component, right? How does this play itself out? I think this next year is going to be interesting because before this football season, before the July 1st, before the House settlement went into place, a lot of deals were already done. The Bryce Underwood deal at Michigan, right? The $12 million, $10.5 million, however much he got. Like next year, how are those deals being done, and are they deals that go through the clearinghouse? He did say he thinks federal legislation is really important. I think he's hopeful that is something that happens sooner rather than later. And there's some reason to think that there could be movement on that. Now, so we'll see. That to me is one of those, keep an eye on it, because if MSU is going to play with the big fish, they've got to be able to do what the big fish are doing. He did say when asked about whether MSU, I asked him specifically about whether MSU, as he sort of looked under the hood of the finances and all that stuff, whether MSU has the donors and the finances and the wherewithal to really compete and contend and do what they need to do. He said that they have plenty of horsepower in their donor base and alumni base and other corporate sponsors. Plenty of horsepower was the...
How many horses?
The phrase.
Certain cars have 650 horses. Some have 150 horses.
Yeah. But that's important. That puts it on him. It's similar to when Alan Haller said, they expect Michigan State football to be a top third of the Big Ten, top 6 out of 18 pretty annually, right? And that would, I think, make people pretty happy. But that sets a bar, that sets an expectation that then the program, the department has to meet from a resources standpoint, and the program has to meet from a winning standpoint. When he says they have plenty of, when J Batt says they have plenty of horsepower, it now sets, that's him saying the horsepower is there. It's up to him to go get it. It's up to him to make sure that money is there for programs and that they're not left behind in any way. So he's saying the horsepower is there. It's his job to cultivate it and get it. So I thought that was interesting in terms of the football scheduling, and he said, there's got to be a balance between fan experience and competitive aspirations. So that was interesting. I think I would expect them still to play, major opponents, or at least power conference opponents. I think that's where things are going, especially now that the SEC has done that. He thinks in terms of number of sports, Michigan State's in a good spot. So those are sort of the highlights of what he said. I am going to write a column at lsj.com and in the Lansing State Journal on the conversation. But those are sort of the highlights of what he said, and it'll be interesting. It's a sort of a wait and see thing. I brought up the new arena project for volleyball, wrestling, gymnastics. And he very vague there. I would be a little surprised if that went exactly as it was going to be before the change in athletic directors. He said they're still very much in the planning phase, and he was very vague. I think there are going to be some changes there. I would be surprised if that goes as it
now,
was.
You said that he asked you guys, your reporters, questions. Like, what did he ask you? Did he fire one away at you? Because that was your first meeting of J Batt, right?
His big thing was, what are we hearing from fans? Like, that's what he's curious about. What are we hearing
Groovy Donuts?
from
Did
readers?
you drop one of our
I said right away, if Groovy Donuts aren't there, the columns are going to get rough. You either get Groovy Donuts in Spartan Stadium, or I can't promise anything positive that comes out of anything.
Yeah. Jay, the tailgating thing has been great so far, but Groovy Donuts, we need that. And by the way, can we smoke weed in the stadium yet? I mean, come on.
I told him
the most important things here for the Rube here.
Weed and Groovy Donuts. If you get those two things, everything else falls into place.
Did he give a timeline of the tailgating thing? Because I guess the criticism of the tailgating thing is like it just was popped up all of a sudden like a week or two ago.
It's starting the opener.
I understand that, but I guess the idea, it wasn't talked about before 2 weeks ago or something like that.
That was not asked. I apologize. That was
off the record.
No, it's just not asked.
Oh.
It just wasn't asked. I mean, we briefly was touched on, but that sort of specific part of it was not.
Because I have to say, that's the only criticism I've heard of J Batt so far is like it was all of a sudden just going, hey, man, you can tailgate and throw them together at the last second, it felt like.
No, I mean, he's in a honeymoon period right now, and eventually something will happen that people won't be happy with, But right now, you got to take advantage of that, and I think that's cool. Yeah. So anyway, that's sort of the J Batt discussion. I'll have more on that, and certainly we can ask if you have specific questions when we do our Groovy Donut Twitter question show on Thursday this week, and we'll put out an ask later today. You can if you have specific questions, write in there. Remember, that's a Thursday show with the Friday MSU football against Western opener. So let's get Robin Hook. Let's talk about that game. You want to get Robin Hook on the phone, and we'll talk about Michigan State Western as he gets him. If you do not have a ticket, or you're thinking Saturday, man, Michigan State plays Friday night. What am I going to do Saturday? I'd love to see some college football. I'd love to watch a lot of games at once, have a drink, have a great meal, maybe relax with some friends. I'm telling you, Front 43 and Cask and Company, you will love the experience. Either side. Like, I love the pub experience of Front 43. I love that bar setup and TV setup. It's a great setup at the bar, too, at Cask and Company. Whether you want flatbreads, burgers, sushi bowls, which I love their Maui Bowl and their Big Island Bowl. They've got it all. Great drink selection. Underrated patio as well. They're at Front 43 in Cask and Company, just north of Frandor on East Saginaw in Lansing. Very pleased now to have an old friend, not that old, but longtime voice of the Western Michigan Broncos, the great Robin Hook. Robin, how you doing, man?
How you doing up there? Ready for some football?
I am. You know what I felt best for you? When Western Michigan won a hockey national championship. That's when I felt best for you. Getting to do that stuff that you don't always get to do.
I got to admit, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. I don't think it's their last one either. I think Bronco hockey is here to stay in that national spotlight.
Well, what I love about that, and I know there's a big arena project that's on its way downtown, and that finally, I was writing stories about that in 2008, and it's finally coming to fruition about 4 times the price, thanks to Bill Johnston and all that. But what I love about is WMU hockey is given Western Michigan a sport that plays at the very elite national level at a time where that's really challenging in their other 2 primary sports. And one of those being football. I wanted to ask you how different it feels there from 10 years ago. And obviously 10 years ago was 2015, heading into 2016 as the build under P.J. Fleck was happening, as they had a team with 2016 with 6 NFL draft picks on it. The ability to keep that sort of talent and to build that sort of roster is just sort of a thing in mid-major football that's hard to do. How different is the vibe there today?
Well, it's so different with the way the college football and college basketball have evolved with the transfer portal and all of that. So that team was built by recruiting high school players and developing them and seeing them all the way through 4 or 5 years of service. And nowadays you're turning your roster over every other year, if not every year. So it's a totally different ball game. And tell you what, I think this team that Coach Taylor's put together is going to surprise some people. Now, where that takes them and where they end up, I'm not sure. But just watching them in practice and watching them carry themselves and some of the team speed that they've added, there's team speed comparable to what they had in that undefeated 2016 Cotton Bowl team. So we'll see if it translates onto the field. I'm anxious to see it unfold on Friday night.
Well, that's sort of the big difference, right? A decade ago, you knew based on 2015 that they were close. And now you see the team speed, but it's 31 transfers, 50 plus new players. Like, you don't know what that's all going to look like. There's some JUCO guys that are intriguing, who have a good running back returning. Some guys up front that look interesting. Like, where do you think this team has the best chance to sort of punch up in a matchup like this?
Well, I think hopefully running the football, because they do have a bona fide running back who I think will get a shot in the National Football League. That's Jalen Buckley. He's just chiseled. He's up to 220 pounds. He's got really good speed for a big man. And if the rebuild offensive line comes through, he should have a heck of a year. He ran for over 1,000 yards as a freshman, was freshman All-American and MAC Freshman of the Year. He's battled through a few injuries the last couple of seasons, but I'm excited about Jalen Buckley. I think he can be an impact player, one of the key figures in the Mid-American Conference if he stays healthy.
You get a new quarterback, and that's always that's always a difficult change. Tough first assignment. What do you expect there? Do you have a sense of things?
Tell you what, this Brady Jones kid from California, Riverside Community College, freshman or junior college All-American. This guy can really throw the football. You'll be impressed. Watch him in warm-ups. Watch him in the game on Friday night. He can really throw the football. We had a kid here, Caleb Ellaby, who had a great arm. Probably left too soon. Thought he was going to make it at the next level. This kid throws the football as well as Ellaby, if not better. And he's got some zip on it. It comes out of his hand really quick. And he's got some speed on the edge with some new wide receivers that they brought in, Christian Leary from Georgia Tech and Malik Williams, another transfer. And the tight ends should play an integral part in the offense. So Brady's going to have a lot of options to go to. And then you got Brock Lowry, who was a transfer from Indiana, who was the backup quarterback last year. He brings a little different mentality to the quarterback position. He's improved a lot throwing the football, but he can really run back there too as a quarterback. They had a scrimmage here last week, and Brock Lowry went to Coach Taylor and asked him to be live during this scrimmage. The other quarterbacks all had their gold shirts on, which means don't tackle them. he wanted to be live, and he was out there running the football. So, and he's a much better passer than he was last year. He's really improved there too. So, going to see both of those guys, I'm guessing, on Friday. Coach Taylor said both would play, which I anticipated going into these early games anyway, until someone just takes it over. But I think you'll see both of them quite often this year.
Yeah, I mean, Brady's numbers at the JUCO level were astronomical. And what do you think that looks like? I mean, they're different styles and players. So, is there a scripted plan right now, or is it one guy looks good, ride him, or do you have a sense of that?
No, I really don't. We're going to find out here on Friday night. I think one or the other will start, and then the other guy will come in, and then maybe if somebody gets hot, they might ride him for a while, and then see what happens. But the biggest thing is they're going to turn around and hand it to Jalen Buckley and some of these JUCO backs that they got. Cole Cabana, who transferred from Michigan, unfortunately won't play, got banged up. Not season ending. He should be back for conference play. He was a guy I was anxious to see, but he won't be available. But and those tight ends over the middle, those short passes, they got a kid from Williamston named Cade Conley. He went to Marshall. I believe he started at Central, and then to Marshall, now at Western. He's really surfaced as a go-to guy. And then Blake Bosma, who caught 6 touchdown passes last year, is a down-the-field threat from the tight end spot. You're going to see a lot of tight ends, I think, for the Broncos. And this offensive line can hold up. It's rebuilt now because you lost 4 starters from a year ago. But you do get a starter back who missed all last season because of a knee injury, Adam Vandervest, and he's the anchor up there at left tackle. So, and another guy who started all last year inside, John Hofer. Now, the other guys are all new, guys that have paid their dues, getting ready to play Division I football at the offensive line position. And so Jeremy Schleicher and Gavin Dabo and guys like that are going to get their opportunity really for the first time. We'll see what they can do.
Defensively, there's a guy like Tate Halleck, former Michigan State. He's a Michigan State legacy. His dad's Ty. His sister's on the women's basketball team. Began his career at MSU. Had 2 really good seasons for Western Michigan. But there are a lot of new faces there. Is that the side of the ball where there's the most? You got a new coordinator, some new faces, like the most sort of uncertainty on what that could look like.
Well, funny you should ask that. So I got my 2-deep here in front of me that they don't release anymore, by the way, before the first game. Nobody releases the 2-deep.
Except you get it, right? That's awesome. Yeah.
I think it's nonsense, but I go to practice, so I put it all together, and then I show Coach Taylor, and he says, that looks pretty good. But I put the previous spot where they played in red next to their name, and my 2-deep sheet is bleeding right now with red all over it because just about everybody in there is a transfer from somewhere except for just 1 or 2 guys. Tate, of course, from Michigan State, and they got all new linebackers and new defensive linemen. August Johanningsmeyer, who's been around for a while, he'll factor in up front. They'll play a lot of guys like most teams do on the defensive line, keep them fresh and rotate them in. But there's some veterans back there like Aaron Wofford and Tate Halleck. They played a lot of football. And Tate was the team's second leading tackler last year and had 4 picks, pick 6 against the Chippewas. So great to see Tate back there. This is his 7th season of college football. So he's excited to be back. Not often do you find a 6'4" safety like Tate Halleck in your secondary.
No, and I think he could have been a good player at Michigan State. He just, I also think this has been a great move for him. The thing the Broncos and Spartans now have in common that they have never shared before the last 2 years in the Connor Stallions incident is a loathing of Central Michigan, which is now a shared common bond between the fan bases. So that there will be a little maybe they can, I don't know, commiserate's the wrong word, but they can coalesce around those vibes on Friday night.
Yeah, we all root for whoever is playing Central Michigan. There's no doubt about that.
I don't think people understand. I wrote a column. I wrote a lot of columns back when I was covering Western Michigan for the Kalamazoo Gazette when I lived in Kalamazoo. Jason, you know that? Yeah. But in doing, and a lot of times, one of the things I was trying to explain to a larger fan base was just how intense, how good certain players were, but how intense certain rivalries were. And like the CMU Western rivalry is there is a loathing and a hatred there that is as deep as you'll find just about anywhere. As it is widespread as Michigan State, which or Michigan Ohio State is big. No, but it's within those programs, it is every bit as intense. So for Western Michigan, let me try that again. For Western Michigan to compete and have a chance in this game, and you and I have seen games where they've pulled off these sort of wins, and it usually takes pretty good punch in the passing game, like some explosive plays, and maybe they have it on the ground game. What do you think has to happen for this game to be close at the end and for Western Michigan to have a chance?
Well, I think the lines have to hold up on both sides of the football. Games are won in the trenches. It's not a cliche. It's the truth. It's how you win football games. And with some younger guys, some less experienced guys on the offensive line, and a whole bunch of new players on the defensive line who we don't really know how they're going to pan out, I think that's what has to happen for the Broncos to have an opportunity against a Power 4 team like Michigan State, or later on against Illinois, or some of the top teams in the MAC like Toledo, Ohio, and Miami. That O-line and that D-line, they got to hold up, and they got to create some space for the running backs on offense, and they got to slow down the run game and maybe make Michigan State one-dimensional and go from there. That's always the key thing in these kind of matchups, because a lot of times there's a little bit of size difference, maybe a little bit of speed difference, but Bronco offensive line is not small. They're pretty good size up there, so we'll see what happens.
Robin, it's always great to talk to you. Look forward to seeing you Friday night, and glad things are going well for you.
Thanks, Graham.
That is Robin Hook, the longtime voice of the Broncos. And nearly at one point, I think, the voice of the Red Wings. He was like the number 2 guy in the hire. Could have had a whole different life as the voice of the Red Wings had it gone. What are your takeaways there, Jason?
It's kind of depressing, I guess, if you're Robin, though, right? You're
well, he
close
likes
to the Red Wings thing.
I've always thought
you're talking to you about the central rivalry.
That's fair. But I've always thought if you live there, it's a great you do the radio for basketball, hockey, football. You get a lot of different stuff. They pay you well. They treat you well. You live in Kalamazoo, which is an unbelievable place. Yeah. So it's not a bad life.
No, but absolutely not.
Yeah.
So what'd you read in the tea leaves there? Is Western any good? Because money's coming in, and money came in on Western, but I just think that's because Michigan State averaged 19 points a game.
Did the line change? It went to 18.5 to 20.5.
It's 20.5, but I'm saying everybody was hammering the 20.5. I believe it says roughly 60% of tickets on the Broncos, and I just go, well, how do you
So we'll
talk about that with Harry coming up next, but I just find it fascinating.
I've been asked a little bit about the over, and I probably would lean that way. I think where there could be trouble is when you have, and I've covered teams like this, when you have, a JUCO transfers up front and the offensive line, when you have a lot of new on defense. Like I've seen the way that goes, and it usually doesn't go that well for the Western Michigan. It doesn't mean you don't have some explosive players and plays. And so it doesn't mean you don't break one off or you don't have a couple great drives. It doesn't mean you don't get to 17 points or something like that. It's just like,
but isn't it different this year than past years, just with the way college football landscape?
Oh, 100%. Right? It's so different. And so a lot of teams they play will be in the same circumstance. But I'll give you a great example of this. I was covering, and this is 2011. I'm covering Western Michigan at Michigan. It was when I wrote that famed column about Alex Carter and Denard Robinson and Kirk Cousins and all that. Anyway. And Western Michigan is moving up and down the field on Michigan. And it's at the big house. It's 7-7. They're about to go in they're on the goal line. They're about to go up 14-7, Western Michigan. It's going to be a game. Now, this game never finished because it was called for weather after late in the third quarter. And I can't imagine if the game wasn't even, it was kind of out of reach, but I can't even imagine Michigan be willing to do that if the roles were reversed. But anyway, they're on the goal line. And Carter throws a ball that gets tipped and intercepted and goes back the other way, pick six. So instead of going up 14-7, you're down 14-7, and the game spiraled a little bit from there, but that was like early second quarter or whatever, and everybody goes, that's just bad luck. It was not bad luck. What happened was Western Michigan had a JUCO transfer offensive guard who was pushed back into Alex Carter on his throw. And so that's what happens at Western. That's the difference between Western Michigan and Michigan. Like Michigan doesn't have to start some guy who's not quite ready as a JUCO transfer offensive guard. Michigan does. So
that's bad luck, though.
But it is bad luck. But
pin it on something. It's bad luck.
Could have gone differently, but those are the breaks to some degree. And so that's when you start new faces up front, a lot of JUCO guys. There's a year famously late in the Gary Darnell era, like 22 years ago, where they had too many JUCO guys. And things, did not go well culturally. When you have a lot of different guys on defense, things can look like you got speed, you got all this, but it's got to be cohesive. So my sense of things is Western Michigan may land a few blows, but they will not. I don't think this game will be within a touchdown or two in the fourth quarter. I think Michigan State will.
Well, that doesn't help me when I got to cover 20.5.
I think that
so
number.
You don't think that Michigan State can cover? I'm with you. I'm kind of with you, but I don't know anything about other than what Robin just told us about Western. Right?
I think that number's about right. Yeah. What's interesting is
well, like you said, it opened at 18, something like that.
How much Michigan State's playmakers versus this defense, how in sync they are. Michigan State's offensive line, what's interesting about MSU's offensive line? You get a guy like Nate Carter makes the Atlanta Falcons, right?
Saw that, yeah.
How bad was Michigan State's offensive line last year? They got a center from last year who stuck on an NFL roster with the Bears, and they have a running back who stuck with the Falcons. So the rest of the line, Carter never had any room to do anything. He had that Michigan game where he played pretty well, and the line was good early on. But there's a guy who's an NFL running back you had on your team last year. You had an NFL starting center, and you could not create space for this guy. And so the question for me
that's
is
some off-the-record Jonathan Smith commentary about last year's O-line. Right?
He did not say that.
Yeah, he would mention how bad it was.
So the question for me is up front is, what is Michigan State? If Michigan State is as improved as they want to be at offensive line, at receiver, at quarterback, I do not think this is I think that the 3 touchdowns is about right. Now, at 20.5, I'd be hesitant to take it, and we'll get into our best bets in a little bit. I do have a play if you want to take Michigan State that I think would be probably the way to go if the line's at 20.5 where you get it. If you took it earlier at 18.5, you probably feel better. Anything south of 17, I think would probably be the right play for people. But we'll get into to all of that with the great Harry Gagnon here. Let's take a quick break, and we'll give Harry a call. Couch in the Rube, presented by our friends at Front 43 Neighborhood Pub and Cask & Company Kitchen and Bar.
Firekeeper's Online Casino and Sportsbook is the site to play from your phone, tablet, or laptop. Get in on all the football action with pre- and in-game wagering. There's showdowns every week in football that you can't miss. Plus, the college and pro hoops are red hot, and the pucks are cool. Get your first casino deposit and sports wager matched up to $500 each. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and located in Michigan. Gambling problem? Call the Michigan Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-270-7117. Where else can you cheer on your team? Enjoy a mouth-watering burger or savory sushi. Sip on handcrafted cocktails or one of 46 beers on tap. Take your game day or date night to Cask & Company Kitchen Bar or Front 43 Neighborhood Pub near Frandor. 2 amazing places with 1 awesome blended modern American Asian menu. Catch the game on one of 30 60-inch TVs or stop in for the all-you-can-eat lunch buffet. Enjoy happy hour or elevate your night out at Cask & Company or Front 43 on East Saginaw in Lansing. Ever wonder how comfortable you can be and how good you can look? Put on a Muskox flannel and find out. Muskox has new arrivals for this fall, including the Caper Green Grand Flannel, which even makes couch look good. Muskox is a Detroit-based flannel company that creates soft and durable flannels made to last a lifetime. They become a great partner with Couch in the Rube, not just because they make us look good and feel good, but because they're good people too, and a socially conscious company. For every $100 purchase, $10 is donated to the Alaska Wildlife Conservation. Muskox flannels are designed with 100% cotton that is ethically sourced and double brushed for softness. Feel the quality and comfort of a Muskox flannel by ordering at GoMuskox.com, where Couch in the Rube listeners can enjoy $15 off their flannel purchase with the promo code HOFF. Come enjoy irresistible, award-winning, handcrafted donuts and locally roasted coffee at Groovy Donuts. Surprise your family or coworkers with special holiday designs and flavors, or put the perfect finishing touch on an event with a custom order. Birthdays, weddings, gender reveals, our friends at Groovy Donuts are your answer. Experience the Groovy Donuts difference for yourself on Lake Lansing Road in East Lansing or in Williamston. Get more information or place an order at groovydonuts.com.
Find Couch in the Rube podcasts on Spreaker, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Google Podcasts, CastBox, and the Rube's favorite podcast addict.
Couch in the Rube, presented by our friends at Front 43 Neighborhood Pub and Cask and Company Kitchen and Bar. Great place to watch college football games this weekend. It is now time to bet the games, talk about how we're betting the games and our picks with the great Harry Gagnon. Harry, how you doing, brother?
Hey, what's up, guys? How's everything?
It is good to hear your voice. It's good to be football season.
Yeah.
And excited to get going on this. The first game we're going to get to.
Oh, do we want music for this? All right, I got you. Let's go.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
There we are. First game, Western Michigan, plus 20.5 at MSU. This Friday night. The line is moved towards MSU to 20.5. The money now is starting to come in on Western. I think this line is probably about right. But I would, and history says Michigan State does not cover these openers all that easily, right? So history says don't take Michigan State on this. I would be inclined, for purposes of our competition, I would say MSU here, under 3 touchdowns. I would take MSU still. But I would not bet this at this number. This number seems about right to me. Jason, where are you, sir?
Yeah, it feels like a fade, boys, 20.5. I just think that Michigan State, Harry, they should cover this. And I think a lot of this steam on Western Michigan is coming because of Michigan State and what they did offensively last year. Give me, for this contest, give me Michigan State covering that 20.5. I don't love it, but give me Michigan State. What do you got here?
Well, I did pretty good with you guys last year in college, but I just couldn't get those Michigan State games right. But in this spot, I don't know. Seems like a lot. You mentioned Graham, Michigan State last year, season opener, beat Florida Atlantic by just 6, scored only 16 total points in that game. Top 2 running backs from last year are gone. I know Nick Marsh is going to be just tremendous talent, already is at Michigan State in his sophomore year, led them in receptions last year as a freshman. But Western Michigan was in a bowl game last year. 6 of their 7 total losses were by 14 or less. Only blowout was against Ohio State. I think, guys, I got to take the almost 3 touchdowns here. Sorry, Sparty.
I don't think there's a wrong. Look.
Well, there's going to be a wrong answer.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah, it's there is a wrong answer, but I don't think you can sell either way pretty well and say it's a decent bet based on Western Michigan's changes on defense. They're new guys up front, but you could also say Michigan State is traditionally not shown an ability to cover this early on or really take over a game like this to the extent that you would think. I think there are better ways to this. We'll get into this with our best bets, which we're going to do in a little bit.
But if they don't cover that 20.5, though, right? I mean, I can't believe we're talking about. I know it's Western. Michigan State has questions, but I just feel Jonathan Smith needs to cover this spread.
Well, I don't think so. So
yeah.
What if the
final spread cover?
What if the final score is 38-20, and Michigan State's in control the whole time? I don't think that.
Yeah. How about this one, guys? Michigan State hasn't beaten anybody by more than 3 touchdowns in their last 21 games. And I'm sorry, I know they did beat Prairie View A&M last year by 40, but that doesn't count.
Yeah, that's not.
It doesn't count?
No, it's not an FBS.
Played the game.
Not an FBS.
It was a sanctioned event. I mean, counts.
It's
that's why you schedule them. They count. I mean,
yeah. No,
great stat, Harry. I like that though.
How about one A team? How about one Division I schools, not one AA?
Well, no. Okay, now we're just reading the fine print.
Well, I mean, they beat Florida Atlantic last year 16-10. Now that was not a great team, but if you go back, let's let's go to 2022. Let's not say they're 2021, but it's 2022 MSU football. Hold on one sec. Oops, I screwed this up. I don't need Hoff. I'm good. If you go back to 2022, when they start the season against Western Michigan, that was 35-13. Now, different Western Michigan team, different. But that's the type of game you can see. That's a 22-point win. But you wouldn't feel good about that spread, this entire time. I think the spread's about right. I can see an argument either way. All right, let's move on to Saturday's games. Saturday's first game, the big one, Texas plus 2.5 at Ohio State. Ohio State getting a lot of love here with the new quarterback situation. Arch Manning starting at Texas. I get it. It's on the road. I do wonder about Ohio State a little bit. They've had a fair bit of turnover. I know they got massive amounts of talent. I kind of like Texas here, strangely. I don't know. It's just a gut feel. It's not a game I would go heavy on. Maybe I'd throw it in a teaser to bump Texas up to 9.5 or something like that, 8.5, and feel a little bit better. Even that, I don't know if I'd feel great. But at 2.5, maybe buying that line to get to 3. I like Texas here. Jason, where are you?
Yeah, I'm kind of liking the money line with you. I don't like when our guts align, Graham. Especially when we eat something and when we think about games. It's not good that our guts align.
Never want to align with my gut.
I'm with you. With Arch Manning, I'm like, this is a make or break game for Arch Manning to come into Ohio State, the horseshoe, and beat Ohio State. Plus, you're getting 2 and a hook. I got to say, Harry, I like the Texas and the money line, and you're getting plus money on that too. So give me Texas plus 2 and a hook. What do you got?
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I like Graham. I'm on the same page as you, what you said, your analysis on this type of game. I mean, I hate both teams. The Buckeyes I've never been a fan of, and you guys know I've never been a fan of Sarkisian. But I will say, Texas, schedule-wise, they got to give them credit over the past couple of years for playing tough non-conference road games, took care of Michigan and Ann Arbor easily last year, and did the same the year before that in Tuscaloosa. And with the way the playoffs are now, the loser here still can go about their business, the regular season, conference play, and make it to the postseason. Ohio State had some run in the playoffs, but it's Arch time. Let's see what he's got here in a big game. And I think Texas gets revenge from losing by 2 touchdowns in the Cotton Bowl in the playoffs last year. I'll take Texas. I'll roll with both of you.
All right, next game, Alabama minus 13.5 at Florida State. I give Bama some credit for going on a game in Tallahassee, minus 13.5. Like that is, we'll see what Alabama is. I think they have more depth in their program. I think they're in a better place than Florida State. Obviously, Florida State went from national title contender to off the map, so they're going to rebuild, and I think they'll be considerably better. That's a big number in a true road game, though. And so the question is Florida State up to just physically being able to hang with Alabama? To me, that's too big a number at Florida State in an opener when there's hope is high and life worth living and all that stuff. Give me Florida State with a 13.5. Jason, where are you?
Yeah, I tried talking myself into Florida State with the points, but I just think Ty Simpson and Alabama, they're just going to be stacked and ready to go against Florida State. I like it under 2 touchdowns. Give me Alabama minus 13 and a hook. What do you got?
I'm going to go Florida State here. No Jalen Milroe anymore. Florida State is 4-1 straight up in the last
hold on.
versus the SEC.
Isn't that a plus? No Jalen Milroe. I mean, that helps Alabama, right? I mean, that's just me. I'm sorry. That's all right,
hey,
go ahead. Sorry.
Some people a lot of people might agree, but I think Bama now, it doesn't scare you like they would in the past. And yeah, the Noles were disappointing last year. I think they play much better this season under head coach Mike Norvell. And, yeah, like you said, Graham, that's a big chunk there. It seems a little high to me, a little fishy that it's that high to me, but I'm going to roll with you. I'm taking the Noles as well.
All right, New Mexico, plus 34.5 at Bryce Underwood in Michigan in his debut. Big number. I know New Mexico is talking a big game, talking about how they like their 2 deep and all that. Michigan usually, though, gets a bump just based on being Michigan, and a lot of people high on Bryce Underwood. I do think he will – they may be able to overwhelm New Mexico, but he will probably make a mistake at some point. 34.5 is a big number. I mean, you could see a game that's 52-7, and that's just what this winds up being. But you could also see a slow enough start for Michigan, getting their offense going, and I'm lean New Mexico here. Not feeling great about it, but I can see some game that's like, because think about it, 40-7 covers that, right? So I'd lean New Mexico on this line. Don't feel great about it. Where are you, Jason?
Is there a number New Mexico could score to make you feel comfortable about the 34 and a hook? Like, what do you think New Mexico?
They would have to get to. They would have to get to like. If they get 17, I would feel comfortable about it probably.
Yeah, because I'm with you, especially with a freshman, Bryce Underwood at quarterback here. New Mexico's defensive coordinator from Idaho. He likes to, throw some blitz packages, apparently, according to New Mexico's stat and info department. So give me New Mexico, the Lobos, and the 34 and a hook. What do you got, Harry?
I'm going to take them, too. Look, guys, I'm just going to go with history here because I hate these type of games. I hate these monster point spreads. But in Michigan's last 8 home openers, they have won by more than 34 in their last 8. One time. Still have these off-field issues as well that they still have lingering. The Lobos talking a little smack in the offseason here and heading into week 1. I'll take the 34.5 here. I see this being, let's say, 33-7 Michigan.
How are the Lobos talking smack? I mean, do they got some Luke Longley NIL money coming in, or what? Jesus,
I saw
New Mexico's talking shit.
Talk a lot of big game.
All right, I guess you have to.
Interesting stuff.
I respect it. I respect it.
Do you?
Yeah,
sort of. We'll see.
Unless you have that 34.5 and Michigan lays a whooping on them.
I love that they put out their 2 deep. That's why I'm taking New Mexico.
It's the little things for granted.
LSU plus 3.5 at Clemson. Another I really respect that these sort of matchups are happening, right? This is what we're getting now. Clemson with a lot of guys back. One of the most, they haven't used the portal much. They've gotten guys to stick around, and this is a team where it's a veteran team. You know a lot about what they've got. Quarterback on down. LSU on the road and
yeah, but like 5 years ago, it'd be impressive.
Correct.
If you had a schedule like this.
Line of scrimmage, though, like what is that going to be? I at home, give me Clemson again. Just a lean here. What do you got, Jason?
Yeah, the hook kind of scares me, boys. But Clemson at home, I know both teams have their own Death Valley, but the Death Valley of Clemson, I just think that place is going to be rocking. They got Klubnik, who's probably the best quarterback in the NCAA. So give me Clemson. That hook scares me, but given that 3 and a hook, what do you got, Harry?
Oh, boys, really? Wow. Well, my best bet of the weekend is LSU. I love the points here.
Oh, God.
I'm not a Brian Kelly fan, as you guys know. He is 0-3 in openers since getting to Baton Rouge with that big-time TV game to start the season. Hasn't been able to get it done. I think I love the 3.5, but I also think money line here too. I think finally they get it done here. Klubnik, very good quarterback, obviously put up big numbers, but I think Garrett Nussmeier might be the overall best quarterback in college football. 4,000 yards last year, 29 touchdowns for LSU, and Clemson I know Dabo, you mentioned, has finally dabbled into the transfer portal a little bit. Supposed to be probably the top of the ACC, even ahead of Miami, and I get it all. But the ACC is not that great. Clemson was 0-3 last year versus SEC schools, including getting steamrolled by Georgia by 31 to start the season. I just think this situation here, you're going to give Nussmeier more than a field goal. Give me that. Give me LSU.
All right, best bet of the week. All right,
well, that's when he does that.
That stops me
really
from betting
dislike
that.
when he does that.
Yeah. Thanks, Harry. All right, Sunday. We get Sunday football before the NFL.
By the way, sorry guys, but what a color combination for uniforms too, right?
Clemson LSU. Yeah, it's good. It's classic.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so good.
Classic.
More classic.
If Clemson had balls, they'd come out in their purple, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Balls,
really, yeah.
I don't know.
Dabo has no balls.
I like the classicness of Sunday's uniforms. The Golden Dome helmet of Notre Dame -2.5 against Miami with the
Catholics
U on the
versus
helmet.
convicts.
Yeah, Catholics, convicts. Wait,
Yeah.
I need to double check. Is this game in Miami? Hold on.
It says at Miami.
Yeah, at Miami. So another true road game. We're getting away from that bullshit, neutral.
All these
site
teams
stuff.
have balls now.
Yeah, there we go. Notre Dame -2.5. Miami gets Georgia's quarterback, who was Carson Beck, who was struggling last year. But they've got NIL up to wahoo at Miami. We'll see how they rebuild. What's Notre Dame's program in terms? I tend to like Notre Dame here for a couple reasons. One, that crowd will be half Notre Dame in Miami. This will be a road trip. There will be a lot of people down there. Miami is not a real school in terms of fan base. It does not belong at the high major level. And so I give me Notre Dame inside of a field goal here. I feel pretty good about it. Where are you, Harry? Or sorry, Jason.
Yeah, I just think Notre Dame can lose this game, obviously, with being an independent and wouldn't matter in the college football playoff. I just think Carson Beck, I understand last year wasn't as good, but I think they reloaded up with wide receivers for him. Give me Miami getting the points, and I like a little sprinkle on the money line, maybe a two-leg parlay here. But anyway, give me Miami, Harry. What do you got?
Tough game to figure out. I'm going to roll with the Irish. Yeah, you guys mentioned, Beck, he went to Miami. He's getting his, $4, $5, $6 million. Wasn't good at the end of his career in Athens. And I think I'm just going to take overall here in a, like I said, very tough game to figure out and determine who's got the upper hand here. But I'm going to go possibly the team who has the best player on the field. I'm going to take running back from Notre Dame, Jeremiah Love. 1,400 total yards last year, 19 total touchdowns. Maybe he's the difference here in a close game. I'll lay the 2.5 for the Irish.
All right, so Jason's alone on Miami there, right? That's the way it should be. All right, let's go around and do our best bets. And Harry, you've got a couple other things we'll get to here as well. You mentioned LSU for you, Harry. That is your best bet of the week? LSU at Clemson, correct?
It is, but I do have a Thursday night 7-point teaser for you guys, okay?
Love it.
Let's start it off in the South Florida Boise State game. I'm going to take South Florida from 5.5 up to 12.5. It's going to be 90 degrees in Tampa, 60% chance of rain, humidity up the yin-yang in Tampa. The boys from Boise won't be used to it. No Ashton Genty to save them anymore. I'll take the 12.5 at home with the Bulls, and I'm going to tease that with Nebraska, who's playing Cincinnati in Arrowhead in Kansas City. A lot more fans probably make that trip from Lincoln than they do Cincinnati. Again, I'm going to tease Nebraska from -6.5 down to +0.5 here. Matt Rule, we mentioned this numerous times, guys. In his third year, what he does, he turned around Temple, he turned around Baylor in his third year. Still got Dylan Raiola here in his sophomore season. Emmett Johnson, running back, who is still there too, averaged 5 yards a carry. Cincinnati's got their quarterback in Brendan Sorsby back, who's pretty good. But I just think overall, just to win the game here in Kansas City, I'm teasing Nebraska because me and Jay are both very high on the Cornhuskers this year. Teasing it down just to win the game with South Florida plus 12.5 against Boise.
I like it.
Jason, what do you got? Best bet of the week.
Do you guys think the totals in some of these games are a little high? I think the under 47.5 in the Texas-Ohio State game. I just think that, first game of the season, everything's on the line. Arch Manning, his first game. I think they're just going to get off to a slow start. I think that's kind of heavy. I take the under in that. The other over-under I like, 49.5 in the Notre Dame at Miami game. I just think that's too heavy. I like both unders, maybe parlay, do a little two-leg under parlay for those. I just think the over-under totals for those are a little high.
So I have I like this bet better for people when Michigan State was at 19.5 or 18.5. But at 20.5, it still works. Maybe you take a 7-point teaser instead. And again, this is not a game that I can bet because it's Michigan State. But Michigan State, if you want to have money on Michigan State, I would tell you the 20.5 seems high. But if you can tease that down to 13.5, right, or a 6.5-point teaser to 14, and then you can also take, I'm with you, Harry, on I love Nebraska at Cincinnati. They're 6.5-point favorites. I'd love them if you can get that down to just win the game. Again, when it was a 6-point teaser for both, I really, really liked it. Now you're going to have to pay a little more juice. But if you can get Michigan State to 14, 13.5 and couple that with a Thursday night line at with Nebraska to beat Cincinnati as a teaser, I think that's the thing I'd be most comfortable telling people is my best bet of the week for them. Harry, you also, my friend, like always, you have a soccer bet, correct?
You know what? It's funny, guys, because you watch the games last week, and there was some college football and preseason football still, and I was most probably upset, oddly enough, and I know Jay probably can't understand this, Graham, but out of the losses that I did have over the weekend, weren't a ton, was but the one I was most upset with the most was my soccer selection that I gave on the show, over 2.5 in the Villa match, and their offense was awful. For the second straight game, they still haven't scored a goal. So I was really upset with that one. So I'm 0-1 giving soccer picks so far in this when the football starts here in the season. But I'm going to come back here with another English Premier game. I'm going to go over 2.5 at minus 105 on Sunday between Nottingham Forest and West Ham. Look, Nottingham Forest, their first 2 games, there's been 4 total. They've scored 4 total goals in the first 2 matches they played. West Ham matches, there's been 5 and 6 goals in their first 2 matches scored. Their defense is pathetic. And in the 4 of the last 5 matches between these two, 3 or more have been scored. So just got to lay 105 over 2.5. Nottingham Forest, West Ham over 2.5.
I like it. I've got a parlay on the soccer front. I got Chelsea minus 190 and against Fulham. I think Chelsea gets that done at home. Don't feel amazing about it, but like it. And then you couple that with Man U at minus 295. And I'm trying to click on it right now to get you an answer, and it's being a jackass. But anyway, that pays better than even money. That would be my my play for people. Take Chelsea on the money line, and also Man U against Burnley, and I think Man U finally get to win at home against Burnley. Chelsea at home against fuck nuts. I'm forgetting the name of the. This is like the worst.
You.
Do you?
Yeah, we believe you.
Yeah, at home against Fulham. Sorry, that's what I had. Yeah,
Graham. By the way, I know I definitely with last week's picks, and you giving you gave out the 2 parlay, right? On the Pachuca, and I know I was definitely annoying Jason. I was sending him up screenshot updates of the Pachuca match, which didn't start till like 8:45
West Coast time. No, I know because
8:45.
They're playing at
8:45 and started
playing at the same stadium.
I'm sending Jason updates.
I'm on the treadmill like after midnight, going, how long do I got to do this? This is ridiculous. Why are we starting so late?
Yeah.
It was brutal. I only made it to halftime of that. Harry, you are a beautiful man.
Sounds like a conversation for off air.
Off air, yeah. That's good. Most of our conversations should be off air. We choose to do them on air.
I apologize to Jay keeping up late with Pachuca scores at past midnight on these.
I was like Puka Nakua. What the fuck? Why is he sending me this? What's Harry doing?
Harry, you're a beautiful man. Always great to talk to you, man. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, dude.
All right, take care, guys. Let's hit something.
That is the great Harry Gagnon. It's good to have college football back. It's good to have.
I know, but it's not. But like the first week,
it's
you're
tough.
sitting there and
it's
you're trying
so
to just go off some bullshit here, and you can't see anything.
I will.
It's like I don't know.
I will caution people on this. The years that I have done best for the whole season on college football are the years that I have very minimally played week 1. There have been years.
It's smart, but it's really hard.
It's so hard
because there's some good games I want to.
What I would do is whatever you usually put on a game, just cut it in half for week 1, because it still feels good to win a few.
Yeah.
And if your overall bankroll, and even if you wind up getting hot, you'll still win a decent amount. I would just say cut it in half for week 1.
Yeah,
that would be my advice.
And then triple it up at week 4.
That's right.
Then you start knowing shit. Yeah.
Boom. Then you take a loan out. You life insurance policies, everything you need to do moving forward. We appreciate Harry joining us. We appreciate Robin Hook. We appreciate Front 43 and Cask and Company. Looking for a place to watch some football this weekend? Front 43 and Cask and Company will have the games. Great food, great vibes, great drink specials. CaskandCompany.com to make a reservation if you want to do that, a date night, whatever it might be. We'll be back Thursday, that's tomorrow, with a Groovy Donut Twitter question show. Good show, man.
Yeah, man.
Couch in the Roof.